Hello everyone and welcome to another MLM shit show. Welcome to another Young Living shit show. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button if you want to support me, and let's just put a little disclaimer in here and let's just get into this. I mean, from the title of the video you can see that this is our favorite oily hun who brought her husband into this call, and they're going to give advice to people how to make MLMs and marriage work. Because as we know, unfortunately, sometimes people tend to break up, marriages fall apart because of MLM biz. So yeah, we're gonna see what their advice is. Let's just start.
Night one of our network marketing and marriage event. This is how to have a successful business and stay friends on the other side. And we are so excited to be here. Hi, Ruthie. Hi, India. I'm so excited you guys are here tonight. Thank you for coming back with technical difficulties. Lorna, hello. Okay, so we are gonna jump in to all of these things. Hello. And just kind of get started. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask questions. Hello, Stephanie. Thanks for coming. If you guys have questions, let us know. Either we'll get to them at the end, or we're thinking of having like even a Q&A, whole separate video from questions if you guys have a lot of questions. But we're going to cover a bunch of different topics each week. Tonight is just the importance of having a shared vision and belief as a couple, as running this, this type of business. Okay. So as people are kind of popping on, hello, Stephanie. We want to share just a little bit about ourselves. I'm Abby.
I'm Tony.
This is my husband, Tony. He does not have Facebook or anything, and so this is all new for him. But I'm really excited we've been talking about this for a long time. We have such a heart for ministry and for marriages and for families and for this business. And whether you're on our team or you're on a different team or in a different company or whatever, however you've made it here, we're so grateful that you're here. And we just have a heart for this topic in general. And we've been wanting to talk about this. Specifically, I've been wanting to do something for my personal team. And then as we were talking about it, we're like, this could help so many other people too to have these conversations. So we just want to do this to bless anyone that comes. Feel free to invite your teams. Hey, Darren. Feel free to invite your teams and get the word out. Like, anybody can come. This is just for us to bless anybody else with things that we've learned, things that we've not done well in, things that we have done well in.
Okay, can I just say I'm really bothered that she keeps saying like blessed, as in like, excuse me, who are you, lady? How are you going to bless other people? I feel like it kind of gives you like this privilege. Oh, look at me. I'm so successful. Look at my marriage. Let me just tell you, you never know what's going on behind the closed doors, especially this way on social media. Of course, they're gonna flaunt only the good stuff, only the good things in their marriage. Even if things are not great, they're going to maybe pretend that they're great so that her business goes up. And again, like, this is very unsolicited advice. It's like, who are you? Are you a marriage counselor? Why are you giving people this advice? But anyway, let's keep going.
And but we've been married this fall. We will have been married for 20 years in October, which is awesome. And we've been doing this business for almost 6 years. We started, we got our first starter kit 6 years ago next month, which is crazy. Hey, Julie. So anyways, yeah, 20 years. Isn't that crazy? Insane. So we have a lot of experience in network marketing. We have a lot of experience in marriage. We have a bunch of kiddos. And we just want to talk about stuff. So anything you want to start off?
Should we maybe share a little bit about, like...
We are old.
Well, we got married at 13. And so
or 10.
We're youngish. Yeah. Well, should we jump in, or do you want to share a little bit of how we got started?
Thank you, Ruthie. How we got started in marriage? In the business? What do you mean?
Yeah. Like, do we want to jump in there, or do you want to just kind of get into it and go?
However, whatever.
Let's jump into it. Okay.
Okay.
We're going to jump in. because
Okay, I mean, for a live and his very first live, I feel like they should have structured this a little bit more rather to avoid these kind of awkward, what do you want to do? You decide what you want to do. I mean, I do this all the time with my boyfriend, but I'm just saying.
I think we both feel like there is like the biggest dream with this for us, I think, was to be together, to come home, and I think it was a somewhat like an unrealistic dream at first, was that we would somehow get to live life together and do things together. And so this is kind of, I think, has been in the back of our minds, like how important it is to be on the same page, you know, to make sure that we're not somehow divided. I mean, I can tell you that we've experienced opposition at times, you know, where we feel the opposition, or we even become each other's opposition. And I can't think of a more important relationship than the husband-wife relationship in trying to do this thing. And so we'll talk through some of this stuff. And I think Abby was saying this, but like, please, thoughts, questions, like, please send those in, because we would love to address some of the things that you may find challenging.
Yeah, and I think we're going to talk more about this, but every couple's going to come in with a different like desire, a different vision for what they want. Ours, we were really clear, like, you know, he's my best friend. I always dreamed of like, I wish there was like something I could do where we could just always be together. It's network marketing. And I didn't know that was a thing. And I just thought it would be so cool if we could just somehow like always be together and raise our babies together. That's not everybody's dream though. Like some people, they don't want to be.
Okay, but if you do want to be with your partner at home all the time, like for me personally, I kind of realized that, okay, if I have kids, I want to be with them like all the fucking time, which is why that was not the main reason why I went to work remote, but remote is a great opportunity to be with your kids. You probably don't need a babysitter. Like if you're doing like a chilled job like myself, I don't have calls. I mean, I have calls internally sometimes, but I just do like the email support and stuff like that, so I could easily have a kid running around and still do my job. So that's one of the things that you can do, and then your partner can do the same if you want to both be at home and just raise your kids at home. Like network marketing is not a solution, because you're both gonna put a lot of money into the network marketing company and products and the biz, and you're going to both lose a lot of money on it. Network marketing is not the answer here, okay? Just saying that.
With each other 24/7, or maybe the wife has a dream but the husband loves his career, you know. And so I think, you know, each couple and each family is going to come with a different dream and a different vision and a different desire for what this business could mean, or whatever business they're a part of, what it can mean for their family. And I think having that communication is going to be really key. But yeah, go for it.
Okay, are my eyebrows really that big?
It's not a filter.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure. We'll pluck those later. Okay, so the first thing that I want to address is to husbands, and I really hope that husbands join, or if they're not here, that you will share this with your husband. I really, we've been praying about this and what exactly to say, because our heart is for unity. Mm-hmm. Our heart is for longevity. Our heart is that, I think Abby mentioned this, that couples don't end up running this race, and then you get to the end and you're like, we're not even friends anymore. Yeah. That would be the worst possible scenario. But there are definitely things that have to be done to avoid some of that stuff. We still have our fights. Abby wins most of them because she's prettier than me. But no, there's still things still come up, and I think that this kind of business should bring us more together, should cause growth and things like that, instead of dividing and stuff. So the first thing is to husbands, we'll go back and forth just a little bit, but recognize the way that you support your wife will make all of the difference. Okay, I cannot stress this enough, that the way you come at this, like, again, this is a business where it's like, you know, your wife jumps in, she's doing this thing, and, you know, and you're maybe kind of like watching from the sides or something, and then you realize like, okay, this is working. but I think husbands a lot of times like aren't certain of like, what is my role? How do I support? Like, what part do I play in this? And I just think it's incredibly important to recognize that the role that you play will make all of the difference. And you know, there may be this sense that like, well, she's, you know, got her friends and they're going to work really hard together and they're going to create something. And we were just talking about this yesterday. I personally think that the most important partner in this business is your partner, is the person that you're married to. Because, I mean, I can't tell you how often, like at the end of the day, like she's done all this stuff and she's, you know, doing videos and she's working on things, but then she'll feel like massive discouragement. And so then it's like we come together and we pray, or, you know, we'll encourage each other. And, you know, somehow, you know, even on those bad days, she's able to pick herself up and to keep going. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I think I think there can be discouragements that aren't necessarily foreseen. And that's, I think, where our role is as men. We come in, we try to encourage one another. We try to uphold our spouse so that they don't give up on their dreams because of a bad day, a bad experience, stuff like that. So again, you cannot underestimate this. If you are a husband who is like, okay, I'm just going to kind of see what happens, and you feel yourself kind of on the sidelines, like, please take this as an invitation to pull yourself in and find out like what your spouse needs, like what does she need from me to be successful in this business, because the answer you're going to find, and I trust most men are probably having these discussions with their wives, but if you haven't, you'll be surprised, I think, at what your spouse needs from you that maybe they haven't articulated yet. So ask that question. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, doing a business like this, it's so important that you enter into it. Like when Tony and I started this, we had kind of an experience of like learning about network marketing before we stepped into.
He just said there is you have to support your wife. Yeah, you should support them unless you see that they're doing something that's harmful for them financially and mentally and in whatever other way. A lot of the partners out there don't support their significant other in an MLM venture because they probably know what MLMs are, or they can see that this is not helping, their financial situation is getting worse and worse. This is why people don't support them. And he's just saying you should really support them. And it's like, yeah, it can destroy a marriage, a disagreement around this, but why would you support your partner, your significant other, just for the sake of supporting them? If I saw that my partner is doing something that's really bad for him, I will not just stay silent and support him. Like if he's drinking like crazy, why would I support him drinking if I see that it's bad for him and it's bad for me? And it's like, it's not healthy, it's not good. You should not blindly support them in anything. There should be conversations, communication, and compromise, and find a solution for a problem. But you should never support them blindly just for the sake of supporting them. That's just my opinion. I don't know. I think they have a special Q&A video after this one, and then I think there's one or more, again, Young Living and Marriage or MLMs and marriage videos like this. So let me know down below if you want to see more of these. For now, I only have this one scheduled, but if you guys would like to see more, do let me know down below in the comments, and I'm gonna cover them in the future as well.
This from a different company. We didn't join that other company, but we had gotten an experience. We understood what it was. We understood what it could mean for our family. And so starting this, we had this like joint vision and belief in what this could be. And so even in those times where like I came against, you know, because if you don't know already, you know, there's a lot of rejection in this business. It's not like always instant gratification in this business. And so if you're doing a business like this and you hit a discouragement, you know, for myself, Tony's been that person that has picked me back up and said like, keep going, you know, and has been that encouragement. And you know, we've been doing this business for almost 6 years, and I've worked with so many women and have seen, you know, some that have really supportive husbands, some that have very discouraging husbands, that don't believe in this, that can even mock them and discourage them. I've had other girls that they have like a permissive husband that's just kind of like, you know, we'll just see what happens. But I see the discouragement that the women have if their husbands are not, if they don't have the same belief and the same vision for what this is. And even talking to Tony, you know, he was saying the other day, he's like, the men aren't on the hype calls. And so all of us as women, we can like be on the hype calls and we can hear the testimonies and we're in the groups and we're in the community and we're hearing these stories and we're seeing people's lives change and we're like totally engulfed into the community and the atmosphere and the calls and the testimonies of the business and the products. But our husbands typically aren't on those calls. And so we can feel passionate and excited and have all this vision. But if we're not like communicating that well with our husbands, then they're like, okay, cool. You know, we'll see how this goes. And there's just, you can either suck the life out of the business, or you can be that like person that like fans the flame and can really watch this radically change your family's whole lives by what your wife does in this business. So yeah, don't underestimate the power of a good man supporting.
Yeah. And I think that like, you know, Abby's talking about the vision. Like, I mean, that's held us together in this thing for a long time.
Yeah.
I think we're kind of lucky because we started off on the same page, and you know, maybe out of desperation, we found ourselves like really needing some major change in our lives. And so that vision that she had translated quickly to my mind. And we'll talk about this in a bit, but, you know, I mean, sometimes I think that our spouses, in this case, you know, I think with something like this, you might find that like the potential for what they're looking at may have more potential than what's already happening in our families. And so there needs, I think, at times to be adjustments. But that vision, I think, is so important to have. And the hard part about that is when the wife has like a really strong vision for what something's supposed to be. You know, she's, you know, like Abby said, she's been to the calls and the hype, and, you know, she's seeing this stuff and she's getting excited. And then she brings it home to her husband. And if he doesn't see that, that can cause like bigger problems than I think people think. And so here the wife will get started down a road trying to create something and do something, and then has this struggle because her husband can't see what she sees. And that's actually kind of the next point we want to talk about is to really, I think the first person to get involved or to work on articulating and selling it to, obviously, is your husband. If you can't sell it to your husband, you may not be able to sell this to other people. And sales might be kind of a gross word there, but really, it's, you know, we're talking about helping your spouse, catch that vision, and maybe not necessarily like the details of how the business works, but what is the dream? Like again, like Abby was saying, like it was so silly, but we talked about it. Like we want to spend more time together. Like I mean, literally, if we could make money just being friends, is that a thing? Like, dear Lord,
he answered it.
Yeah, but no, literally, like that is like one of our great.
I mean, it's great if they have a great marriage and stuff, but like a lot of partners are best friends with each other. Like, obviously you're living together, you're together for a reason. It's really annoying how they're using that to try and get people to get their husbands involved as well. They're not going to support them if it's hurting them financially and mentally, and if it's straining their relationship. They shouldn't mock them or discourage them, but they should have conversations about like, okay, this is not good for us, this is not good for you. Maybe check how much money you're spending and how much money you're getting back. Is this worth your time? Is this worth your effort? And the way that she just said, God answered our prayers and we are best friends and this business is making us money as well. It doesn't even make sense. Okay, it's just cringy and I don't like it.
It's cool. So we love being around each other. And so when this came into being, like that idea was like, wow, like like as silly as that sounds, like maybe we can create something
Yeah.
and be together. Now, I think everybody's goals are going to be different,
Yeah.
whether it's financial, whether it's missions or giving more, or you know, whatever the thing is that drives you in this. Wives, if you're married, like you have to somehow get that vision into your husband's heart and mind.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to be fighting against him.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, sometimes because our husbands are not on the hype calls, you know, if we're not communicating and helping them to understand, you know, the business side of things, the number side, the money side, what this actually can do for your family, and have a clear plan and understanding of what this actually is. If we just get so excited and we're like, we watch a hype call and we hear about, you know, going to RCD and the money they're making, all this stuff, we can go to our husbands and then we can be like, okay, babe, I'm going to hit RCD. We're going to make millions of dollars. You're going to quit your job. We're going to be a full-time family. And he's like, I actually really love my job. And this sounds ridiculous. And it sounds like a scam. And I think that's where like it can have like that bad connotation, or, you know, women can end up like spending a bunch of money, which they're not required to, but they get excited because they love the products because they're the best products. And we can get so excited, but then not have a plan. And then our husbands are just like, okay, is this legit? Is this crazy? Like, does this even happen? Like, is this a real thing? Versus if you can help to like have a clear plan of attack and say, okay, this is the potential, this is my goal, and this is how I'm going to do this. And you're able to cast that vision for your husband, and he can clearly understand it. It's going to be so much easier for you to cast that vision for the builders that you need to find for your business, right? For the people that you want to connect with, for the team that you want to build, for the future that you have. If you can cast that vision clearly for your husband and him understand that, you know, you can go so much farther in this business, because he's going to come, you know, Tony saw what this was. He saw the potential. He understood enough to say, keep going. Like, even in your hard days, keep going.
Okay, like I find it very, very funny, the fact that they're trying to teach these women how to convince their husbands that this is not a scam, because they know that a lot of people out there are aware that it's a scam, and when they hear all the details and how the biz works, they're going to know, or at least have suspicions that it's a scam. It sounds like a pyramid scheme type of thing. And they're just trying to teach these poor women how to sell this to their husbands, how to convince their husbands that this is really good for them, this is going to be great for them, and they're going to be millionaires and whatever. These people are not millionaires either, so it's just crazy that she used that as an example. Is my camera out of focus? I just made it worse. When I found this new job, this remote job, it was my first remote opportunity. And I told my boyfriend, I told him I got this job and whatever. And he did not think for a minute that it's a scam. And he was supportive, because it's not a scam and it's good for me and it's getting us money. So if it's legit, you don't have to convince your partner that it's legit. If you have to convince your partner or anyone else that what you're doing is legit, that's a red flag right there, okay? You are probably doing something scammy. So, you know, please do further research on that.
Because this is our dream. Our dream may not be your dream, and that's okay. What drove me at the beginning was like, I just want to sit and have coffee with my husband without him running off to work. I want to be besties with my bestie and raise our babies together. And so we ran for that, and we sacrificed for that. We made that the priority. We made this business the priority, and we had that joint conversation. You know, and it worked out really well for us, right? And we're not at the top, but even not getting to the top, we're in the middle, and have seen so much blessing and life change, even in the middle stages, that has been radically different for where we came from and to where we are now, to where he's been home with us for 3 years full time. And it's been awesome. We get to have coffee every morning, right? But we had to have that same like joint vision, and I had to have a plan. I couldn't just be like, I'm going to RCD and I'm so excited, and then just waste time on social media. I had to have a plan, because if he's going to sacrifice for this too, like, I need to make it worth it, right? So I think if you can have those clear, you know, even if you're dreaming big, like we encourage dreaming big, but dream big with your husband. Like, help him to understand what this actually is. And that's why I wanted Tony to come on here because he has full belief in this business. And if you guys have your husbands, if they are around, I mean, even if you just want to have them talk to him and just have a man's perspective, I think, because we are surrounded in this business full of mostly women. But that can help just having another perspective of that. We had heard about, you know, network marketing from another company, and we had seen these couples working together and how it changed their lives, and they were partnering together, and it was such a powerful testimony.
Yeah, before they could even get started. That was one of their things that like was really, I think, got into our hearts. It was like they have to sign something, husband and wife. So I couldn't have gotten involved without Abby being like, no, I am fully on board with this. And if she wasn't, I remember having this conversation. We weren't ready to join this other thing, but that stuck out in our minds. It's like, if Abby's not on board with this, then we don't do it.
Yeah, they wouldn't even like let you sign up with them.
And it's got to be the exact same thing here.
Yeah.
Where that mentality is, if my husband doesn't believe yet, then that's where I need to spend my time.
Yeah, priority one.
not proving it to him that this will work. And like people will jump in there like, I'm going to prove it, you know, we'll make some money, it's going to work. That might work. But I think that the better approach is like, let's get you on board first. And, you know, obviously there's ways of communicating to do that. I personally think that praying together is going to be the most powerful way of like, let's line our hearts up with what is possible in this, and let's take that before the Lord and allow Him to bring that unity, to even change hearts and minds at times. I think God is able and willing to do that, because a lot of times I think His vision for our future is a lot bigger than what our vision for our future is. And so, you know, as a man, you know, I want certainty. I want to be able to show up and do something and get a paycheck, and just that certainty of like, I'm taking care of things and things are going to work out a certain way. This is different. Like, this is way different. And there is a bit of uncertainty attached to it. And so to risk, to take these risks and move forward, I think, you know, there's got to be some kind of, some way to bring this together.
I mean, there's a little bit of uncertainty attached to it. A little bit. 99% of people end up losing money. And this is what you call a little bit of uncertainty. My God.
Otherwise, you're fighting against the most important person in your life. And that's something that for Abby and I both, when we see that, it is heartbreaking for us, because it's starting off defeating the purpose, right? If the purpose is not paychecks or ranks, but the purpose is to really be able to pursue a future with that person that you married. And if starting means you're in opposition with that person, then like that just, it's backwards. You know, so anyway, I want to bring in really quick, can I jump into the next thing?
Yes.
Okay. The four roles, let me see how I put this in, the four kinds of roles husbands take that we've seen, and I think if you can like recognize these different roles, then like once you recognize what they are, then you can better, I think, step into like, okay, I'm gonna go from this one to this one, recognizing that like you know, which ones are going to create more success and which ones are going to
and this isn't to you know, nudge and be like, you're the horrible one that we're going to mention, but really for you to take as feedback as to be like, okay, is this the position that my husband's taking, and then how can I change that? How can I help him to see the vision versus like, you're not this, but like, anything is figure outable and anyone is persuadable if they see the real vision. Literally anyone that can understand what this business is and the financial blessing and what that can mean for your family. So maybe it's not the money that you're looking for, but the time freedom, or the you know, vacation freedom, or the house freedom, or whatever. There's something attached to that. It's that joint dream like that he was talking about, for the life that you're looking for, to provide for your family, your children, your future, to just not be stressed out at a job, whatever that is. This can help in that. It can aid in that, right? And so looking at these and thinking, okay, like at what place would it really be life-changing for my family? And then how can I cast that vision for my husband. But
yeah. So the 4 different roles that we typically see are, let's see here, against, indifferent, permission, and supportive. Okay. And gosh, I think all of these have shown up at different times.
Yeah.
And but usually I don't think that the husband actually recognizes that he is playing a certain role in this process, right? And so, you know, I'm
gonna let some people in really quick.
Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, so the first one I want to talk about though is the oppositional role of being against. And that's really simple. It's she's interested, she's beginning this process, and it doesn't make sense to your mind yet. And so for you, it's like, I don't want this to happen. And that's the oppositional role. Okay, it's super simple. The second one is indifference. And that is where it's, I don't care, go ahead, do what you want to do. You know, give this a shot, see if it works. Those are obviously the negative roles. I hope that, you know, most people don't fall in those roles. But those are definitely 2 roles that wives find themselves like struggling with, trying to figure out, like, how do I, okay, I've got this dream, things I want to do, but my husband is either oppositional towards it, or they are indifferent towards it. The reason I'm bringing those 2 up is simply to put that before husbands. Is that the role you want to take? Like, if the potential is there to create massive change, and you're kind of sitting back with this, like, okay, if something great happens, then I'm going to jump into a more supportive role. I don't think that your wife is going to get to that place to where she's proving it to you unless you're jumping into a more supportive role. Personally, I don't think. I think that she needs that encouragement. She needs that somebody saying, hey, you know what, today was a hard day. All you heard was no's. You're getting a lot of judgment from family and friends. They don't believe in what you're doing. And so instead of being indifferent or oppositional towards it, I'm going to step into a role that shows you that I believe in what you're able to create with this. Okay. The next role is permission. Permission and supportive, I think, are the most confused. They get confused for each other. Okay. I think most husbands would want to assume that they're supporting, and I've seen this before, where they're like, I fully support what my wife does, but the truth is the role they're actually playing is permission. Okay, meaning that they've given their wife permission to do something, right? You know, God bless them for doing that, but they've given their spouse permission. But
okay, excuse me, what? Permission? There is such thing as permission, but I feel like in a healthy relationship, you shouldn't be asking for your partner's permission. You should be talking to them about something, sharing your opinions on it, and then worst case scenario, you can agree to disagree. But I don't think that I can't see myself asking for my boyfriend's permission on anything. I would ask for his opinion. But then again, I have my own money and I've always had it, so I don't know how it works in like a joint. I guess maybe, I don't know. I'm very confused by this, especially the choice of words.
when it comes to the actual support that's needed, none of that's there. And so even though they might think to themselves like, oh yeah, I'm completely in support of what my wife is doing. No, you've given permission to them to do something very difficult and they need your support. And so what you want to do is recognize what this role is and step from permission into supportive.
Like active support.
Yeah, active support.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And you know, this, you know, I don't want to go too long here, but like when I think about the roles that I've had to jump into as things have shifted in the business, I mean, you know, at the beginning it was coming home and, you know, Abby's like, okay, you're home. I need you immediately to take the kids.
He was working full time and then he would come home and then I'm like, okay, I have a class. I need you to take the kids or feed them dinner or do something, right? And so he would step in so that I could do other things for the business, which was huge.
Yeah, and I remember that. Like, I remember the adjustment. Like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't like difficult or anything. But I remember like going from you come home to relax, watch something, go for a walk, go do something as a family, and suddenly that's changing. And because the belief and vision was there, like we're like, absolutely, I'm absolutely willing to exchange the old habits or patterns of things that were great that we did with, okay, it's time to, you know, I need to get home and, you know, maybe skip the gym, maybe skip some other thing we were, you know, normally would have done, and grab the kids, and we're going to, me and the kids are going to go in the back room and lay on the floor for a little bit and watch, you know, the iPad for a minute, you know, while Abby gets on a call and she works on a few things. So not like huge sacrifices, but if my expectation, knowing that like this could really create something for our family, if the expectation was you do all of this without me having to sacrifice anything, the fact is it would have inhibited her ability to go where she wanted to go.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah, so
it's that, you know, nothing changes if nothing changes. If the husband's not willing to make any changes to help support this new business and see it as a legitimate business, because it's a pretty significant business that can radically change everything if you do it well, right? If you know the right things and if you put the right amount of time into it. And I'll see women come with like, they have the vision, they have the belief, they know what they want to do, but they might not, you know, so I've definitely seen women that have husbands that are very against it. Like they're literally hiding their oils when their husband's around, because their husbands like are so opposed. And that is like, I have a lot of feelings about that I want to step in, but I don't. But then I have other women that they have the vision, they have the belief, they know what they want, they know what this could do for their family, but their husbands don't quite see that. And so their husbands come home and it's like, the husband, if they're not on board and they don't have the right vision for what this could be, then they just feel like you're taking time away and you're always on your phone and you're so busy and you're all these things, right? Hey, Adam. And it can feel like it's hurting the marriage versus if the husband's on board, then, so, you know, at the beginning, he was working full time. I was homeschooling. We were involved in other.
Again, like she literally just said that you have to convince your husband that this is a legitimate business because they know, I bet this is a big issue that they're experiencing with the husbands not being on board. She said she wants to get involved, but she won't, where the husbands are not supporting. It's like, who are you to get involved? I know she said she doesn't want to, but I'm sure she has comments here and there. She probably has some comments about the husbands not being on board. It's very slippery, slopey of a field that you should definitely not step into. Like, imagine if your boss starts giving you advice on your relationship. Unless you're like friends outside of work, why would my boss talk about my relationship? Like, it's none of his business.
And suddenly you're in this position where you're like, okay, like maybe our dreams are bigger than just me having a great job, getting a bit of a promotion, having a certain life that we've, you know, maybe foreseen. Maybe the goals are bigger than that. That might mean that there's some adjusting and shifting. And I'll be honest, like I've definitely gone through a process myself where the Lord has been working with me on where my identity and value is found. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it's in Him, in His plans, or is it really stuck in what I foresaw as being the life that I thought was valuable, you know, valuable to myself, you know. So there will be some, I mean, I can't tell you how.
Yeah, I love that. This is our plan B, C, D, E.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I love you, Boo.
I can't tell you, like, you know, again, like it's, so maybe at first, you know, you're having this conversation and you're like, okay, I'm going to, you know, come home and give up, you know, free time to, or, you know, downtime to get involved with the kids more and to, you know, and so you start to give more and more time, you know, to your family, right? Which should not be a sacrifice. But we can find ourselves in this place of like, you know, that's not the traditional role. And then I think as values begin to shift, you're like, wait a minute, isn't that exactly what I want? Like more time with my family. And then, you know, like for us coming home, it's a lot more time, you know, to where, you know, I mean, this last year and a half, like, honestly, I couldn't even begin to count the hours where I have sat with our new son, Lion, sleeping on my lap, you know, and these kinds of things. And there are times like when like the truth is like there are moments where I'm like, I would like to do something else right now. Like I just, you know, can I just take a walk, you know, because he's very high maintenance, you know, and he's very, he can be very demanding. But as I think about it and I think about where we used to be, like I'm reminded constantly, like this is exactly what I want.
Yeah.
Like I want my son to be attached to me and to, you know, he'll walk around and wear my shoes and wear my hat. He acts exactly like me. He'll climb stuff. Like, I mean, it's hilarious how much he imitates. And I'm like, why in the world would I waste any time complaining that I've been like this for, you know, 5 hours, you know, like that's what I want. Like I want to, and if I don't want to, I want my heart to want it, to where I am valuing being that part of our family, you know, and again, like I said, you know, traditional roles, the husband is, you know, is gone. I know that things are different. A lot of, you know, situations are different, but a lot of times the husband gets up and he leaves and he comes back and he has just little bits of time. And I am learning to value more and more this amount of time that we have. I wasn't planning on homeschooling my kids. And now we're homeschooling. And then I wasn't planning on being the main source when it comes to homeschooling. And there were times where I felt like a little complaining about it. But the truth is, I absolutely love that I get to be the one looking them in the eyes and sharing information with them, reading them the Bible in the mornings, going over math with them. Like I feel like I'm learning math all over again, which is really fun. But all of these things, I am starting to love it more than I ever thought I would. And when I catch myself complaining because maybe I've been on the couch with the baby for a long, long time, I'm really trying to confront myself with that. And just recognize, like, why in the world would I complain? Like, this is exactly what I want, even if at times, you know, there may be other things that are fighting for my attention as well.
Well, and I think, you know, that was happening years down the road, but like at the beginning, you know, there is that support of like maybe you're, you know, coming home and you're used to having dinner ready or whatever, and you have to come home and help with dinner because mama has to do some work or whatever. And so it's taking on that, you know, even trading a little bit of the role even in that of like, how can I support my wife in this? How can I sacrifice for the greater good of our family and our future, for, you know, one night a week or a couple nights a week or something like that.
Who knew that like becoming a business partner in this may mean becoming a good chef. And I love cooking. You know, I feel like I've fallen in love with it, you know, more and more as we've been doing this together. But learning the business, you know, and whether you become, you know, a chef in the home, that's up to you guys, you know, but there are ways, I believe, of stepping into this to create like a really, really incredible environment, ways of giving yourself to this thing that ultimately lends for a future that I think a lot of us didn't think were possible at the beginning. Mm-hmm. And there will be some sacrifices, but it cannot happen unless you move into that role of like, how do I support my spouse in the absolute best way so that we can see this thing come to pass?
Yeah.
Okay, that was it. That was the whole thing. And like I said earlier, please let me know down below if you want to see more. They have a whole different video on Q&A, and I believe they have a few more sessions like this. I'm so used to the sirens, I forgot to stop talking. But yeah, just how to manipulate your husbands, in my opinion, into thinking that this is a legit idea, this is a legit business, and that it's going to make you both rich. Let me know what you thought about it. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to click that like and subscribe button if you want to keep supporting me, if you want to support me. And yeah, thank you so much. I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye.